Hi class, welcome to Ethics, Technology, and the Classroom. This is week 2 of EDU 225, and again I'm your instructor, Yusra Millenbaugh. I'm trying to model different presentation tools every week, so last week I used Canva to make a slideshow, and I recorded over it with Screencast-O-Matic. This week I'm using Prezi, and I'm recording my narration with it using Screencast-O-Matic again. So I hope you guys are enjoying all these different ways you can present content to your students. So this week we're talking about ethics. So our objectives for this week are that you'll be able to select and use technology ethically in the K-12 classroom. You'll understand copyright and student use agreements. You'll be able to plan lessons integrating technology and evaluate technology use in the classroom, including factors such as effectiveness, ease of integration, cost, and reliability. So our first question is, what does it mean to be ethical? And that's a really big question that I don't know if there's a really clean answer to. Being ethical and what we believe it means to be ethical comes a lot from our faith. So let's look at what the Bible tells us about ethics. If we look at Matthew 7:12, it says, "In everything, therefore, treat people the same way you want them to treat you. For this is the law and the prophets." And then in Proverbs 22:6, we see it says, "Train up a child in the way he should go. Even when he is old, he will not depart from it." I think these two verses are really good ones to frame our discussion about ethics around, because we're looking at not only how we should act as models for our students, but also just how we use technology in our daily life and the decisions that we make and what kind of things we can keep in our background as we're making those important decisions for technology. So in addition to our feelings and beliefs about it, there are some really important issues I want you to be aware of. We have to think about things like appropriate use. When you put kids on computers, are they using it in the way that is intended to? We want to look out for cyberbullying, making sure kids are protecting their privacy and safety online. And then also what we're going to spend the majority of our discussion today talking about is copyright and ethical use. So there's 3 different things when it comes to copyright. There's copyright, fair use, and the Creative Commons. Now, as a teacher, what I really want to know is, as a teacher, I use copyrighted material in my classroom? If I find a really cool article in the newspaper, am I allowed to run it off and print it out for my class so that we can close read it the next day? If I find a really good video online, am I allowed to show it to everybody? What are the rules and how do we make sure we're playing by them? So we're going to take a look at some videos to explore that concept a little more. The first video I'd like you to watch is this one. We're not actually going to watch the whole thing, but it's about copyright basics, and it's going to take you through what it means to have ethical use of technology and really making sure that you understand what copyright is and you can be clear on how you're supposed to be using it in your classroom. You can watch these videos when we're finished just by clicking through the Prezi and clicking right on the video. I'll also make sure I put the links in there for you too. So fair use is on the other slide, and fair use really talks about, this is going to be annoying, fair use really talks about how as a teacher there is a little bit of leeway that we have so that way we're able to use some of those things that are copyrighted in our classroom, but it's really supposed to be a limited scope what we do that for. So this video does a great job of explaining it. And then the next thing I'd like you to watch is about Creative Commons. Creative Commons is relatively new, and it came about with the onset of technology. And there's a vast amount of media that's being created and, more importantly, shared. So we have 2 videos here. The first one is what is Creative Commons and how is it different from copyright. I'm not going to lie, Prezi is not my favorite, guys. What is Creative Commons and how is it different from copyright? This video is going to explain what it is and how people are using it to basically share their work, but really protect how it's shared. So an author might say, you know what, I took this photograph and I'm okay if you want to use it in your blog, but I want some credit. Or you can use it in your blog, but please don't print it on t-shirts and use it commercially. So Creative Commons kind of is a better umbrella and a better way for people to share and protect their work. So I'd really like you guys to watch this so that way you know how you can get media and correctly attribute it in your presentations. And then the second one is there are different types of Creative Commons licenses. There's about 6 of them. And so this video does a really clean job of explaining the different license types and what they mean. So that's a really good resource for you too. Please take a watch. They're really quick. They're like, one is I think 4 minutes and this one's only 1.5 minutes. So it's not a whole bunch of homework. And then the last thing is, here's some additional resources for you. This is a really good article on fair use in the classroom with like some 10 commandments even for teachers and having technology ethics standards in your classroom. And then the second one is a really good quiz that you can take just to see kind of what your own knowledge is about copyright and maybe more importantly than how many you got right, what misconceptions it might uncover for you. And so finally, whenever you do presentations in this class, and certainly all classes, you should try and use Creative Commons media in your work, because instead of just going into Google and searching for images, when you search for Creative Commons media, the authors have given you permission to use the work as long as you give them some attribution. So it's a really nice way to respect the people who are putting these images online and make sure that you're using their images with the intent that they want. If you're not familiar with how to find Creative Commons media, you can use a Google image search to do it, but you can also go to Flickr, and they have filters so that you can only filter in images that are under the Creative Commons licenses. Now, when you use a Creative Commons license, it's a little bit different than standard APA format. Preferably, you're going to use the title by the author, under, and then whatever the license type that it is, with an active link back to the original work so that the person who's viewing it can get right back there. And so what happens is your reference pages for media, for all those images that you use, instead of putting it with your text references like in APA format, you won't have that at all. Instead, you'll see in my slides right here underneath, look at it's going to play this video and I'm going to go crazy. Right here underneath you can see it'll say Creative Commons Explained by Max Noble under CC BY 2.0. That's the license type. And I did that for every video, and you could do that certainly for every image too. It just goes right underneath, embedded in the presentation. That way people know right away that you're borrowing this image and that you have permission because you're attributing the author. Now the other cool thing that you can do is, let's say you don't want to put it in your presentation because it doesn't fit or it takes away from your message. You certainly can make a slide at the end that follows that format. You just want to make sure you include an active link, like I said, and it should go in the same order as the things appeared in your presentation. So that is our week this week as far as our big objectives and the major concept that I really want you to learn. Your assignment this week is really easy. You're just going to be finding 5 different technology tools online. It can be an app that you like, it can be websites for kids to go to, and you're going to evaluate them based on some criteria that the assignment's laid out for you. I've given you a template that you can use. One of the important things is they do want text resources, text evidence to support your answers. So the way you can effectively do that is by referencing back to the ISTE standards, or it's hard to find somebody who used an app like Seesaw, for example, and has research just on Seesaw. But if it's an app on digital portfolios, you might be able to find some research that supports using portfolios in the classroom, and you can use that research to support the use of the app in your classroom. If that doesn't make sense, feel free to shoot me a line or an email, or certainly something in the QFI or individual forum. I'm really enjoying working with you guys this term. I hope you are as well. Have a great week.